Marvel Ultimate Alliance is one of the biggest reasons I ever became a superhero fan. Before I really knew anything about comics, the majority of my experience with superheroes was Teen Titans, or Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. But then my friend introduced little 8-year-old me to Marvel Ultimate Alliance, and I was permanently sucked into the world of superheroes. So when I get a suggestion to beat the game without suffering a team wipe, I'm all about it. The rules are simple. Every character only has one life. If they're knocked out, I may not play them again. If I run out of characters to play, or I get all 4 of my current team members defeated before I can replace them, resulting in a game over, I must reset the entire game. The challenge is won when I beat the story. All on normal difficulty, as hard difficulty is barred from me. This challenge came before my solo Spidey one, and I lost the save files, which is why normal difficulty for both. I just learned months after this challenge that the PSP version naturally has this challenge, which is pretty cool to see. If only the other versions had that option, but I guess I'm making it happen myself. Let's go see if I can make a true Ultimate Alliance, and not just a mediocre alliance to save the world from doom. The Masters of Evil are attacking S.H.I.E.L.D.'s flying headquarters, and it's up to Captain America, Thor, Spidey, and Wolverine to stop them. With a full team of heroes, you'd think jumping one lone bullseye and a few Ultron bots would be a piece of cake, but it's surprising how close everyone gets to dying during that short bout. Large quantities of explosives tend to be bad for your health. What does it say about us that we unfairly jump a lone supervillain, but we still barely win? I'm just glad Winter Soldier and Radioactive Man are working together, so it seems more fair. But the moment Bucky falls, it goes back to watching us bully the lone supervillain left. You'd think Doom would have had the sense to send his supervillains in packs of 4 to match us, but I guess that ego of his thought they wouldn't need it. The biggest danger of battling Fin Fang Foom is not the dragon, surprisingly, but all the fire on the deck. Which, to be fair, is probably there because the space dragon, so I guess in a way, the problem does boil down to him. Spidey had a way easier time of this on his own, because that version of me actually knew how to block. Without my control, Spidey seems extra confused on what he's doing this fight, wasting time breaking random objects, and he keeps touching the fire. In my attempt to save him, I instead get him squashed by Foom, making Spidey our first casualty of the war. I call not it for having to tell Aunt May and breaking her poor little old heart.
I recently received a radio transmission from Dum Dum Dugan requesting that I come to the Omega base. But there was something questionable in his message.
You think it might be a trap?
Maybe. I can't be sure.
Fury, what do you mean? It's always a trap. Every invitation in the Marvel Universe is a trap. The last 6 birthday parties I've gone to all ended up with me in a cage. Though to be fair, only 5 of those were traps. Well, since this is definitely a trap we're about to go into, might as well prepare with upgrades, gear, and gain lots of experience by answering trivia questions. Which, why in a trivia game about superheroes is it asking about Peter Parker? I know he takes photos of Spider-Man, but does that really mean he deserves a whole question about him? Wolverine makes short work of AIM's forces before I get distracted finding a disc that sends Captain America into one of his memories fighting Winter Soldier back in the day. Old men and their love for waxing nostalgia. WS is dangerous enough, but with a 1-minute timer on this nuke during a 4-minute fight, means I have to rush around the room to reset the timer over and over. Cap wouldn't be here to remember this battle too, if Winter Soldier didn't keep dropping health when damaged enough. How many times can one man get bashed in the face with an indestructible shield before he decides to call it a day? If my counting is correct, 61 times. 60 more times than I could have handled, so I see why Bucky's considered a super soldier. Now, where were we? Oh yes, AIM. I didn't mention Crimson Dynamo in my Spidey video because he was too easy to be worth mentioning, and I only mention him now to make it clear he's still too easy. Doctor Doom really should have gone with the quality over quantity hiring process, but this works for me. As for AIM, I am truly glad I brought Iron Man along, as his powered punch breaks right through AIM's normally obnoxious shields. The only failing of the punch is that, well, it's a punch, so it's bound by melee range. Please, get closer to me. I'm sure you won't regret it. A helicopter shows up to hound us. I just gotta wonder. Thor and Iron Man are here. We literally started this game with Thor destroying multiple aircrafts like they were nothing. Why are we running away from the helicopter and need an anti-aircraft gun to break it with them on our team? Questions, questions. Along the way, Wolverine deep dives into his memory as well, which is just 10 minutes of him savagely tearing apart AIM forces and a robotic alien duo that really struggles to move around. I suspect most of Wolverine's memories are very similar scenes of bloodshed. The next supervillain in my way is Mysterio, and there's never been a bigger lesson for me about underestimating my foes. Mysterio's plethora of copies, plus his love for poison and slowing me down with frost, all in this cramped space means half of my team nearly goes down. Nearly only, because I switch heroes when one gets too low on health, holding the attention to a hero with health until he too becomes too close to death. Only thanks to Cap's powerful shield bashes and Mysterio copies dropping health do we manage to scrape by without losing anyone. I definitely gotta improve that bash right away.
How far is the Earth from the Sun? That was a lucky guess!
Honestly, MODOK, yes it was. I love how he asks multiple real science questions and then he throws in a random one about alien history. My refusal to block does nearly get Stark killed, twice over, but with his powered punches and those wonderful health orbs, all my heroes are still in the game by the time MODOK falls on his massive face.
You did a good job on the Omega Base, team. You saved thousands of lives and billions of dollars in SHIELD equipment.
Oh, good, Fury. I really worried about those billions of dollars. That's why I became a superhero after all. Someone has to think about all the money that needs protecting. I love asking Jarvis questions about Tony Stark while playing as Tony Stark. It feels extra insulting to ask Jarvis who Jarvis is, as though Stark forgot his own butler's identity. I hope his paycheck makes this all worth it. He won't be getting paid much longer though, as Iron Man dives into a memory while we're at Stark Tower and ends up going down in the fight. These do not count as game overs, just simulator overs, but they do count for losing a teammate. I hate it when Iron Man randomly remembers he's been dead for quite a while. A very cool aspect of the game is unlocking my own team that I can build and design. Anything custom my creative little brain can think of. Or a very ready-to-go one that matches me perfectly, the Fantastic Four. If only the X-Men were more central to the game, but I sadly have the version that lacks Cyclops and Nightcrawler, one of the greatest tragedies to befall me my entire life. I may have lived a rather privileged life now that I think about it. Reed's disturbing propeller arms do a decent job plowing through the Atlantean defenses, but the real shining star down under the sea is the Human Torch. If I thought the web shooters working underwater were confusing, you can be sure how mind-boggling I find Human Torch and all his fire to be. I thought water countered fire, but evidently, I was wrong about that, as Torch melts the Atlanteans. Even so, the combined might of Krang and Brya might have been too much for Johnny, if not for my strategic genius at play. Truly, Krang never stood a chance. Fighting a Tuma and Tiger Shark is a slow process, as none of us excel at landing hits on the two slippery fish folk, but things clobbering is good enough. When fighting against the mighty Kraken, all one has to do is hide behind the pillars and let the crazed Atlanteans come to you so you can beat them from safety. But I'm the only one that ever seems to get that memo. The rest of the team doesn't seem to mind being slapped around by the Kraken. My only issue with this fight, and fights like it, such as Arcade later, is how the solution is just do the exact same animation QuickTime event a few times over until victory is mine. Surely we could have switched it up a little bit, right? I suppose if the enemy ain't smart enough to adapt, why change it? But it's the principle of the matter. For Mandarin's Palace, I switch things up again and bring in a squad of superpowered women. Unfortunately, I love Storm too much, and I'm having too much fun lightning striking Ultimo again and again and again, that I don't realize in time how much of a beatdown Spider-Woman is taking. Damn, never even got to play as her. Good thing Miss Marvel can finish Ultimo before Elektra joins her in the grave. Invisible Woman can take Spider-Woman's place, but admittedly, I'm just gonna keep playing Storm as I love chain lightning inging all the Clay Warriors. See Palpatine? It is possible to shoot an insane amount of lightning at everyone and look good doing it. But then tragedy strikes again, as I foolishly decide to go into a Thing memory and watch as he's easily made a thing of the past by the Rhino, just as the health finally dropped to really rub it in. Do you think She-Hulk happens to be around somewhere to fill in so we can stay the Fantastic Four? If only. At least the Grey Gargoyle can't put up much of a fight, as Sue flings his healers away from him until they're unconscious. Plus, his ability to turn us into stone one at a time doesn't matter much when there's still 3 of us punching him relentlessly. Of all the things for Ultimo 2 to drop on being defeated, why did it have to be the Thing's uniform though? Really rubbing in the loss there. Shortly after, we come across a disc for a team fight against Crimson Dynamo, and since he didn't give me much trouble before, I decide this makes for easy experience. I am sorely mistaken, as the Trolls and Clay Guardians blocking the way to Dynamo are endless, bringing Storm incredibly low on health. Miss Marvel's time slow helps us to recover, and it seems we might make it without loss when suddenly a troll chucks Storm right over the bridge barrier, and she's gone before her flight can save her. You gotta be joking. My only relief is that Crimson is as weak as he was before, but that's 2 simulations in a row that took a life with them. While he doesn't feel as powerful as his X-Men Legends version, Colossus's punches still pack all the power I need, easily wiping out the rest of Mandarin's palace. I could do without the uncanny view inside his skull from behind though. Whatever threat Mandarin poses to a lone Spidey does not exist against a full team of heroes that are giving him no room to breathe. If Colossus's fist can't reach him, Deadpool's guns are more than satisfactory. Act 1 has been won, with Spider-Man, Iron Man, Spider-Woman, Thing, and Storm as our current losses. Rest in peace, friends. Let's see if it stops there. Let's hope it stops there, but I doubt I'm that lucky or skilled. Least winning gives me the reward of watching Nightcrawler be incredibly awesome as he always is, as he attempts to break free of Doom's castle. This scene in X2 the movie were my first impressions of Nightcrawler, and I've been in love with him ever since. I love you, Elf! Did we just dox Doctor Strange's home? Whoops. But again, why is this Peter Parker guy so common in this trivia game? I don't get it!
But beware.
That's one way to leave a conversation, I guess. Oh wait, there she is! She literally just portaled a few yards to the sofa. That feels like an abuse of magic, but I respect her for it. The worst part about having a team that they don't tell you about is babysitting them through a trap-infested castle. It's child's play to bypass these gates so they don't hit me, but my buddies are sadly made only for punching, not for anything that requires basic intelligence, which is why both Colossus and Moon Knight are on the verge of death before I switch over and get them through. It's a really good thing Luke Cage is such a powerhouse, crushing the Doombots with a single punch, healing my team. And it's also a good thing we found the 5th Daredevil action figure needed to unlock him, because if I keep running into more of these traps, I'm going to need a replacement hero soon enough. But, then again, maybe not. As long as I have Luke Cage with me. Those punches of his eviscerate Mind Control Jean Grey's health.
Sweet Christmas.
Luke Cage is so powerful that a second later when I discover his disc, I have no worries about the risk of doing it, and I'm right to feel that way, as Cage's punches decimate the supervillain population. Simply for the sake of variety, when Jean Grey shows up again for round 2, I let Deadpool's guns blast her health away. With Colossus, Luke Cage, and Deadpool, there is nothing I need to fear in Arcade's murder world. Unless Colossus tries to pummel a clown, completely whiffs it, lands in a rolling spike pit, and instantly dies. Gotta be kidding me. What is it with that guy and always chucking himself to his death? He also did that in X-Men Legends too. I love him so much, and clearly, he does not return the sentiment. Cage can handle everything on his own, but I sure am gonna miss that big steel dummy. I'll switch him out with Daredevil, and since I recently found Blade in a Claw game, he can join us too. Especially since, whether it be because he's a bad character, or I just don't know how to play him, both are possible, Moon Knight and I aren't vibing. But why even bother with these other teammates when Luke Cage can outpunch everyone we meet within moments of meeting them? I'm trying not to play favorites, but he's making it difficult. So much so I have to switch him out or I'll keep playing him the rest of the game and neglect everyone else. But it does not take me long to realize how much I also love playing as Doctor Strange, as he has a high probability of turning our enemies into boxes when he uses his main spell. It makes me wonder, Is everyone he transforms into a box still aware as a box? Are they still sentient? Or is Strange just actively murdering everyone? And what's the worst fate of those two options? Before we head into hell, I just gotta do something real quick. That's better. Honestly, there's not much to say about Mephisto's realm for a while, as the threats there are minimal. A welcome surprise. The only noteworthy things are that this is not a flattering picture of Johnny, and that we get Ghost Rider on our side when Johnny takes his place for our time in hell. It's up to me to condemn Nightcrawler or Jean Grey into the void, and while I feel Wolverine probably would choose to save Jean, he's stuck under my control, which means, as always, I save Nightcrawler. I just can't get myself to sacrifice my beloved elf, especially with Jean's natural gift for rebirth. I'm sure she'll be back in no time.
For she does not die in the Infinity Vortex. Instead, she returns to Earth in the form of the Dark Phoenix, to take vengeance upon those who did not save her.
See? She'll be fine. The world? Maybe a little crispier than it was, but that is well worth it for Nightcrawler's life. The battle against Mephisto is a lot closer than I would have liked it, as I often lose control of the team and I keep getting stunned with minimum health drops. Wolverine's fury and natural healing makes him the MVP of the fight, but Thor and Ghost Rider? They've looked better by the fight's conclusion. Act 2 is beaten, and we only lost Colossus to random stupidity. I can accept that, but the war never ends, as we must save Asgard from Loki now. Since this is Asgard, Thor is the obvious pick to lead us here, retaking his home from these evildoers. Well then. We're doomed. I thought only the Greek mythical heroes had to worry about arrows to the heel. At this point, I'm worried enough to bring back in my ultimate weapon of Luke Cage. In fact, let's go full Fantastic Four again. Luke Cage was a member of the team to replace Ben before, and he can be again.
You're the one who's not too bright, Luke Cage. Because if you had any brains, you'd know the Wrecking Crew has the power of the gods.
Is that a fact? Well, this should be fun. Because I've never had the opportunity to beat the daylights out of a god before.
Hell, if he's this confident, I should be too. With how much the Wrecking Crew's health plummets with every blow, that confidence is well earned. I have to do one more vital action before we press on, though.
Now this is my kind of party. Look at all this food. Almost makes me wish I was dead.
Oh, yeah. Ooh. No one tell him. But between Cage's punches and his pile drivers, Loki's forces hopefully won't claim any more lives. Asgard is so easy that it's once again time for a team change to keep things interesting. Daredevil's ability to trip whole groups of enemies and still do strong single target damage makes him the star of this team, but I still try to give everyone a chance to fight as we continue through the enemy forces to free the captive gods. Even if it's slower now without Luke Cage, the odds are still very much in our favor. If you've seen my Spidey solo adventure, you know that I found the duel with Loki to be a breeze. But I was genuinely worried about him then because of my experience in this challenge. Blocking wasn't something I was good about, and my team is horrendous about it, so when Loki uses his Chain Lightning ability, you can understand why we fry. Wolverine's healing keeps him in the game, and the Ice Giant hammers help me out a lot. But with so much damage coursing through that lightning, it's not much of a shock to watch both Iceman and Ghost Rider go down before Loki does. That really does suck, because there is no way to go to a spawn point. Even portaling to base is off limits, which means entering the portal to Valhalla revives them to work with me. There's no way around it, and they don't do much here other than to help me solve the puzzles. The Destroyer armor is really overhyped and not even a little bit of a threat anyway, but I still do hate having these two ghosts forced to stay with us. Thankfully, Doom pops up a second later to erase us from existence, so I guess that solves that. Only for the Watcher to intervene and blip us away to safety.
I have broken my sacred vow to only observe, so that I may give you this one chance to save your world.
Watcher! Bud! You break that sacred vow like once a year. It's starting to not seem so sacred anymore, I just gotta tell ya. Act 4 is upon us with Thor, Iceman, and Ghost Rider all beaten. Of the 23 characters I have access to, that's 9 down. The odds are still in our favor for these last 2 acts, so time to make it count as we find some way to remove Odin's powers from Doctor Doom. First off, we have to deal with the Shi'ar Empire. The Shi'ar guards are loyal to their Empress, even if she is the insane Deathbird who just ousted her sister. Instead of explaining to them that blind loyalty to a leadership role simply because she wears the crown is morally void and makes very little sense, I'm just gonna turn these soldiers into crates. What? They clearly prefer not using their brains, so it's not much of a change mentally. Breaking the crate for the money inside? Yeah, that might be a tad too far, I admit. But heck, what's done is done. I'll send the coins to the widows, if that counts for anything. I mean it though, when I say these guys aren't thinking at all. They set up force fields and still go right up to them, trying to hurt me, which they can't do since force field. But they still stand there as I roast them slowly with my circle of fire magic. I see all the smart ones must have defected. And this whole turning everyone into a box makes everything a cinch, as enemies with heavy resistance to damage, like those with altered genetics, don't matter when they're suddenly a box. In fact, I know Doom has Odin's powers, but have we tried just turning him into a box? This is just a thought. Per usual, whenever one character is dominating the battlefield a little too much for my liking, I switch Strange out so he can admire his new crate collection. Something I would immediately regret, as we're ambushed by 2 of the Shi'ar Royal Guard. Despite Wolverine and Miss Marvel's best attempts to keep the attention of the duo, it is not enough to prevent Reed and Sue from dropping. Once again, right as the healing orbs were about to reach Sue, just to rub it in. Wolverine and Miss Marvel were both on the very cusp of defeat as well, but his healing factor in Rage, plus her energy beams, were just enough to make the difference. I really wish Past Me had known the power of blocking. It could have saved so many lives. My beloved Fantastic Four is now a singular Johnny. How am I gonna break the news to the kid? We are abandoning the bodies here, so maybe if we just tell him they went through a wormhole to another dimension or something, he doesn't have to know the hard truth. It is the Fantastic Four. They do dimension hop every other week, so it should be pretty believable for him. Or I can just use his rage at their deaths and throw him at the other Shi'ar Royal Guards. Yeah, that works pretty well. Deathbird herself is much too vulnerable to quick-time events to pose even a little bit of a threat, and then the race is on to save Empress Lilandra from the ship's self-destruction before time runs out. I could let her die and save the ship, but if I turned all those people into boxes, plus I failed to save the Empress, I'm not much of a hero anymore. Only problem, even if I break the power nodes to buy us time, whatever they made this computer controlling Lilandra's torture out of, it is stronger than adamantium, it feels like. The full force of my hero is unleashing everything on that computer, and its durability is dropping way too slowly for us to save her and the ship. Which means yes, even if we do free her, we all die together. Well then, that was a very sudden game over. Worst thing is realizing I ran by one last power node as I entered into the final room, which might have given me enough time to survive. After all that fighting, and so close to the end, my team is wiped out and I must begin again. I know they say the third time is the charm, but can we make it the second time's the charm to avoid any more heartache? Bright side is getting to see Spider-Man again after spending nearly the whole game without him. First things first, I'm shutting off everyone's auto-spinning for their ability upgrades. I want full control of how my characters are improved. Now let's bring out some bigger guns right from the get-go. Doctor Strange may not yet know how to box people, but blasting everyone with his purple bolts of death is more than acceptable. I mean, we got Winter Soldier and Radioactive Man to run away in just 2 seconds of fighting from spamming that power. With these 4, the Helicarrier is a breeze to save, and with the punching power of Luke Cage and Iron Man, Omega Base is nearly as easy to rescue as well. The Fantastic Four has already proved they are up to the challenge of saving Atlantis, so I decided, why not let them do it again? Easy peasy. But why stop there? In my Fantastic Four challenge, I had to stay depowered to win the challenge. But here, I am free to unleash their full power, and I am more than happy to. Johnny's Inferno Blast turns enemies' health into ash. Reed's punches keeps enemies at a distance, as does Sue's force fields. Ben's claps keeps enemies stunned, and just being this team means I get 20 health on every KO. Basically, this team is fantastic. Plus, I have the sense not to do the Simulator Disc or Crimson Dynamos, so I can minimize the danger even if I get less experience by avoiding them. Since I am staying as the same team, I can also get team upgrades, which means I can make up for the less experience by improving how much total experience I get from every single source. Other than nearly losing Sue to that one Murder World gate trap, every adventure proves as easy as can be. That is, until I have to switch Johnny out to save Ghost Rider in Mephisto's realm. Until I can get Johnny back, I switch Ghost Rider for Luke Cage, and then I head to save Nightcrawler. You might think that Blackheart then, the demon guarding Jean and Kurt, might have gotten the best of me. But nope. There's a reason I haven't even mentioned him before now. He's just not a worthy threat. No, it's not him that's the problem. I even make it to Nightcrawler and open his cage, dooming Jean Grey. But as I turn to go back down the stairs to the portal forward, Reed accidentally nudges Luke Cage just enough so he joins Jean in the void. Well, damn. I mean literally, I just damned Luke Cage by accident. Stuck in Mephisto's trap of endless demons now, I make a break for the portal out of here, only to discover that it's not open until enough demons die. Which is terrible, because I'm one man down and already have aggroed a good deal of demons on me as I rushed for what I thought was the exit. Ideally, I should have grabbed a fire giant's blade and chopped Hell's legions into itty bitty pieces, but it didn't occur to me then. Without Cage or those blades, my fight proved fruitless as Sue fell, followed shortly by her husband, and then the thing couldn't clobber fast enough on his own. There in the depths of hell, the Fantastic Four fell, not to rise again. Hope Doom enjoys destroying that reality. We're on to the next for hopefully better results. This time, I'm not going to rely on the Fantastic Four, but on my trusted four. Doctor Strange for his boxes and mystic bolts. Spider-Man for all his webs, Luke Cage for that powerful punching, and Deadpool for his teleportation, plus his great gunplay. Between those four, we're out of Act 1 in no time without a single loss. But by Murder World, I miss Human Torch's Inferno ability and switch the Merc with a mouth out for him. Still, not a worry in sight, minus almost losing the good doctor to that Murder World trap. I really do hate that trap. Before going into Mephisto's realm, I let Sue take Steven's place. But then I let Spidey save Ghost Rider, who I switched back out with Strange. Which is a great choice, as I really love letting loose with all those mystic bolts into the graveyards full of fragile skeletons. And all the fire giants get transformed into boxes. It's quite a satisfying time. This time, when I save Nightcrawler, I'm very careful not to push any of my teammates into the void. Then I can let loose all my ultimate attacks upon the waves of demons awaiting us further in. That clears the way to the now opened portal, and Mephisto can't stand a chance against the beatdown that Luke Cage hands every supervillain we meet. Now that we're past Mephisto's realm, I bring the true Fantastic Four out of retirement so that we can take back Asgard as a family. Unfortunately, right away, as Sue telekinetically chucks a foe off a ledge, the Thing decides he's not done clobbering that guy and gives chase right off the ledge. Wow. Okay, I guess he didn't care to do it as a family. Can my team please stop killing themselves? The answer is no. No, we can't. Reed in his pinball form, nope, don't even bother questioning why he has such a form, throws himself off the edge mid-battle. Almost like turning yourself into a ball and rolling around at dangerous speeds is not a good idea. The smartest man in the world, yeah, right. In a very bad idea of my own, I go off into Spider-Man Simulation Disc and have to fight Scorps and AIM Troopers, all while protecting Dum Dum Dugan from death. Let me tell ya, Dum Dum Dugan, a very fun name to say, has no sense of self-preservation, and he's making it quite difficult for me to protect him. But with all the web bullets in the world, means I can scrape by with the teeniest amount of health left for Dum Dum Dugan. I tried to follow that up by winning Thor Simulation Disc, and promptly died. Whoops. I hoped I could keep the losses at that, until I stumbled across Ymir, the Frost Giant leader. In order to win, I need to beat the much smaller giant, grab his spear, wait for the club slam, and then climb the Ultra Giant so I can ram the spear into his neck on repeat. Brutal stuff, but somehow more brutal for me than for him. Because the smaller giants don't drop much health, and every smash from Ymir takes health from all my allies, plus the smaller giant keeps hurting them a good deal. By the time I realize how low everyone is, it is too late and only Spidey remains standing. Johnny, Sue, and Steven, all claimed by the snow. It's up to Peter to press forward on his own, using the Frost Giant's hammers to clear the way. This would be nice practice for my solo run later on, but at the moment, it was terribly risky to do. Reaching the shield point, I call in Luke, Wade, and another Peter to help me handle Ultron and Mordo. They are always simple, but that still leaves Loki. Trying to get health out of him quickly before he can finish my team off, I let loose ultimate attacks, but by the time the dust has settled from that, Colossus and Cage have both been picked off. All that punching potential gone in an instant. Losing them is fantastic motivation to learn how to block, so I can keep Deadpool and Spidey upright, but now for the same problem we faced last time. The two ghosts who are helping out whether I want them to or not. But that's just how it goes, I guess. I'm taking a look at my custom team roster. Of the 10 I put on it, 7 are down. That's not great for me, but we're in the final stretch, so it's time for a roster changeup. Between Daredevil's baton and Warstar's confused stare at a wall, the Shi'ar guards don't cause nearly as much trouble as before. Gravity does though, as Deadpool gets in a confused whirl and flings himself off the ship. I should have known it was time for bad luck to strike again. Miss Marvel is an excellent replacement, but I am shocked when Storm goes down to Deathbird's area attack. I didn't think Deathbird had it in her to ever be a danger. Frick. Bringing Captain America for his mighty shield, I race to destroy Lilandra's torture device as fast as I can, and this time, I do not forget the last power node. That last node makes all the difference, buying me enough time to stop the self-destruct with only 5 seconds left on the clock. Phew! Finally, a reality where Lilandra lives and I don't have to be guilted by the narrator at the end of the game. Take that, narrator! I feel like you like it when I lose. With one part of Anti-Doom recipe done, we head to the Skrull planet for the second. In my solo Spidey challenge, I did forget to mention I got around fighting the 2 superpowered Skrulls by simply going through the hangar and just ignoring them. I wish I had that sense here, as fighting the duo proves costly. It's difficult to do much when I keep getting frozen and knocked prone, so even with Daredevil's strong attacks, it doesn't stop both him and Miss Marvel from perishing. That loss forces me to fight smart and gain distance so I have a chance to web down both the Skrulls. I'm sorry, Matt. Sorry, Carol. We'll try not to muck everything up and waste your sacrifice, but if we fail and die horribly, at least you'll have lots of company in the afterlife very soon. They won't have to wait long at all. Galactus is tired of our interference in his dinner plans, so he gives chase, but Iron Man and Captain America both decide they're tired of running. They will not listen to my commands to join me, and by the time I switch over to force them to follow, it is too late as both fall to their deaths. Before I can think much more than, what the hell? Galactus topples a building to block our way. My lack of thinking says I can break this building to advance, and it takes me too long to realize there's a pathway up that I passed. The moment I notice it is the same moment we no longer had any ground to stand on, and that was it. Wait a second. That's not how this story's supposed to go. I need to check the script. At least we final 2 survivors will be remembered in this loading screen. Also, no wonder Galactus is so hungry all the time. I just saw inside him, and he's as hollow as they come. Has he ever tried eating real food, and not just planets turned into energy? A few Taco Bell soft potato tacos might do wonders for him and his mood. Maybe a few dozen, but still. Let's make this count for good this time, eh? Time to bring in the powerhouse team. Doctor Strange, Human Torch, Spider-Man, and Deadpool. Scorpion is squashed. Bullseye misses his mark. Winter Soldier gets forced back into hibernation. Radioactive Man is leaden with defeat. Fin Fang Foom is Fin Fang doomed. Crimson Dynamo generates only failures. Mysterio's defeat is no illusion. MODOK becomes Modol. Mobile organism designed only for losing. Raya goes by. Crane goes out with a bang. Atuma is made into a tuna. Tiger Shark tastes only his own blood. The Kraken is lacking. Dragon Man drags on no more. Ultimo is ultimately scrapped. Grey Gargoyle's fighting skills are grotesque. Mandarin needs a new set of rings. Jean Grey's chances turn to ash no matter how many times she rises again. Rhino charges headfirst into defeat. Shocker shocks no one by losing. Arcade punches his own lights out. Blackheart shrivels up. Mephisto's plans go to hell. The Wrecking Crew gets early retirement. Rhino 2.0 goes extinct in 2 seconds. Shocker's Never Say Die motto doesn't pay off. Ultra Scorpion is an ultra loser. Lizard sheds his chance at winning. Enchantress is enchanted with disaster. Executioner gets executed. Curse is cursed with loss. Ulick is easily licked. Ymir is toppled. Morto's magic can't make miracles happen. Ultron proves not to be the superior being. Loki tricks himself out of victory. The Destroyer is destroyed. Gladiator guards no more. Starbolt and Warstar burn out. Hussar and Neutron are relieved of duty. Deathbird is grounded. Hybok the Power Scroll lacks the power to pull through. Super Scroll is super screwed. Titanus' rampage ends here. And we're back. Galactus again! We made it all the way back, not a single teammate lost. Only one replacement as I switched Deadpool with Daredevil out of preference. So many people turned into boxes. I avoided losing anyone fighting against Ymir this time by only going in with Spidey and Strange, plus remembering to block against both him and then Loki. It always surprises me how easy it is to counter Loki by just blocking his chain lightning attack. Torch's Inferno was great at freeing the Empress and ruining every boss we encountered. Luke Cage belonged in this superstar team, I absolutely admit that, but I couldn't risk losing him. But also my overprotectiveness meant he never got a chance to shine. Sorta like health potions you just keep all game and never use. Now before we get chased into the void by Galactus, I'm going to play it smart and do some team replacements. Iceman, Elektra, and Spider-Woman will take the other three's places, while Daredevil continues to lead. Is it wrong to bring an assortment of heroes that I believe will be too stupid to run away properly and likely die? Yeah, probably. Am I wrong to ensure it's not my powerful heroes? Probably not. Could I have just done a solo hero? Absolutely. But I didn't want to risk losing my lone hero in some mishap and getting a game over. Especially since I'm proven right immediately as Elektra and Spider-Woman run right into a barrier, staying there instead of easily circumventing it. I'm able to get Jessica out of there fast enough, but Elektra isn't so lucky. I hope the Hand can make it all the way out to this planet to resurrect her. Bobby just gives up running, standing there until Galactus crushes the platform he's on. Why would I ever think to bring Iceman? Hasn't my X-Men Legends challenges taught me that he never, ever survives? My bad, Bobby. I fear Daredevil will join him soon when I try and scale the downed building, but end up stunned and in Galactus' grasp. Daredevil has superpowers, sure, but not of the strength variety that I know of, so how the hell did he shove Galactus' fingers apart and escape? Catholic faith? That's impressive. Breaking free is the last big worry we have, as Spider-Woman follows close behind and the two of us make it far enough for Silver Surfer to intervene. From there, we overcharge Galactus' devices, and Surfer distracts him long enough for us to down the World Eater. I hope he didn't smush any Skrulls when he fell, but let's skedaddle just in case he did. While we've been away, Doom has been at play, ruining the world and corrupting the X-Men and other heroes. It's a good thing Bobby died, so he won't have to see his friends like this. What? I'm just trying to look on the positive side of things. Too soon? As I absolutely adore the Fantastic Four and always want more of them, plus, with Doom as the big bad of this story, I can't help but turn this into a Fantastic Four video game. So it's time to assemble the team, ignoring most of my best characters, and head to Castle Doom to finish this.
Tears are developing in near-Earth space because of Doom's unbridled use of power. Pretty soon, even Doom won't be able to stop it. The universe will unravel in a matter of months. All life will cease to exist everywhere.
Yeah, because Doom having god-level power and remaking the universe in his image wasn't bad enough. No, it always has to be worse. The Fantastic Four all get a chance to shine as we battle our way through Doom's castle with no real threat able to slow us down much. Not even Doom's evil duplicates of my team.
I am an entirely new life form, created out of nothingness by Dr. Doom.
Does that technically make Doom your papa? Do you call him Papa Doom? I'm genuinely curious. Guess he's not interested in telling me. Cap and Colossus keep me stunned a bunch, but Torch's Inferno and Reed's love for bouncing makes light work of them all. Anytime I have even a slight bit of trouble, I switch to Torch and light my enemies up. It rapidly eats away their health, but it really just looks like Johnny's trying hard to hype up a crowd. He probably has a lot of experience doing that too, to be fair. That leads us here. Fantastic Four against Fearsome Four. I wish Doom acknowledged that it was the Fantastic Four he's fighting, but I'm glad to kick his metal face in, so it's fine. Doom's twisted versions of us aren't nearly as powerful, so it's not much trouble to beat them.
You have beaten my Fantastic Four. I have only myself to blame. I made the mistake of creating them as feeble and weak-minded as the originals.
I'm not sure that math adds up, Victor. Doom decides that quantity over quality is still the way to go, unleashing an endless horde of our clones on us, but quality always wins out. No matter how many times he sends one of us flying, there's always the rest of this Ultimate Alliance still in Doom's face, unleashing everything we have on him, until he's only one hit left to defeat. I switch to the Thing, as the time is obvious. It's clobbering time! Huzzah! After 28 hours, 16 minutes, 6 hours, 51 minutes for the final playthrough, and 3 losses with a casualty list of Iceman and Elektra for my final playthrough, I have beaten Marvel Ultimate Alliance without a full team wipe. As the narrator lets me know that the world has been helped in so many wonderful ways from all the actions I did in the game, I want to thank you all for watching. Thank you for the suggestion, and thank you to my patrons for their support. It definitely makes a true difference for me. I hope everyone enjoyed. I'm off to see if I can resurrect Elektra and Iceman myself. I'll see you later, friends. Maybe in the zombie apocalypse if I don't do the resurrection right. Bye for now.